Before we actually go to the conclusion, we forgot to talk about Xdist, the parallel processor in terms of us running our tests multi-threaded and multi-processed. So what we actually need to do for that is make a couple of changes because our current configuration, the way Xdist works is basically it's going to go through all these configuration steps on a separate process, and we don't want that. So as you can see here, when I was trying to run it, basically it's saying the file already exists because it's running this multiple times. So most of our code's already written. We're just going to move our logic to a different file, like a main file, and we're going to run that. All of our commands from there and our PyTest execution from there and our transfers. So let's go ahead and just get started with that. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to create a brand new file. And I'm just going to call it run.py, or you can call it main, whatever you feel like calling it. We're going to actually use args parse now, but luckily we don't really have to change much of our code. So we're going to use args parse. And we're going to use JSON, import OS, and import sub process. Okay, so what we're going to do basically is we're going to copy from here this entire configure environment, and this is going to change a little bit too. So we'll just copy this for now. I'm not going to cut it. We're going to paste that in here, and I'm going to change this to actually be called update environment file now, because this is going to be different. Update environment file. And this is not going to take a PyTest config anymore. It's going to take our args. And we can get rid of this. And then we're just going to actually change this to args. And this is just going to be .r property here. So we can get rid of that. Do that for everything here. Yeah, it's kind of a pain, but it's all right. And one or two more, almost there. Test list. And last one. Transfer method. Okay, so with that out of the way, we've got our update environment file. We do not need this anymore. This can go away. We are still going to return the env though, and you'll see why here in just a little bit. So the next thing we're actually going to do is remove our parser code from our conf test. Let's go back to here. So this is going to be completely gone now, so we can actually just wipe this out. And we're going to make a function called main. And this main function is going to have our parser, and it's going to be args parse. Arg parse, my bad. Arg parse dot argument parser. And from here, we're just going to add our arguments that we've already copied. So let's go ahead and move that over. This one does not take a destination or an action. It just, if it's required, it has that flag. So we're just going to do this, remove that, remove this, and all the other ones here. Okay. So now we've got our args. Now let's go ahead and actually parse through those. So we're going to do args equals parser dot parse args, parse underscore args as a method, and we're going to pass in nothing for this. but we will pass in for our actual method up here. So we're going to set env equal to update environment file, passing in our args that we just made or just collected. Now we're going to move our imports here. We're not going to need this here anymore. Put that at the top. And we're going to do file transfer right after this, passing in our env. And now what we need to do is handle our command line arguments. So this is going to be somewhat complex, but let's go ahead and do this together here. So I've got pytest args, and this is going to be pytest. And then we're going to append our arguments from our list here that we've already got. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's go with pytest args again. Plus equals, yeah, plus equals. This is going to be f. Oh, my bad. This is actually going to be an f string, I believe. It's going to be dash k. Yep, k. And then we're going to do equal to v. What do I have wrong here? Come back to that. For k v in vars, known args dot items and then we're going to have a condition of maybe we'll do if v is not none. And so what we're going to need to actually add up here is we're actually going to change this just a little bit now that I'm thinking about this. We're going to do actually instead of args, it's going to be known args because we're going to have some arguments that aren't known as well. So we'll do unknown args2, and instead of parser.parse args, we're going to do parser.parse known args. Perfect. We're going to change this to known args. And I believe we should be all set up here with this now. One more thing we're going to need to pass in here is actually our unknown arguments as well, so we can just append that too. So pytest args plus equals unknown args. So that should handle all of our arguments. So like basically this part here is going to be going through and adding in all of our known arguments, client ID, secret base URL, test list, that kind of thing. And then this one will be like appending like our -n for Xdist and our -m for the Python flag marking. So 2 more things we need to do, and this should be all good to go, or 3 more things. We're going to do, obviously we're going to do the subprocess now. So we're going to start our subprocess, run it, and all we're going to do is pass in our pytest args. That's simple. And then after we're done with this, we're going to handle our file transfer cleanup. That should be it. I'm going to actually add our if name command here, so let's just do that real quick. Just keep that consistent. And main. Okay, so with that, let's come back here. Let's modify this a little bit. We aren't going to need this anymore. We will still need this. This flag will not exist anymore. This will not exist. And this is going to be just getting read access only now. And all of this can be taken out. And so can this. We do actually still need to return the env though. Perfect. So that should be it. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. Actually, before we do that, one little thing here. Gotta change that to add argument, not add option. My bad on that. But so we have add argument now. And we need to instantiate the argument parser. And I think there was one other little mistake up here. Let's see. Oh, yes. This should be args.env. And I think, let's see, double checking here. Everything looks good. Oh, there's something right here. And this would be underscore underscore. And oh, right here too. This needs to be f-stringed as well. Okay, I think that should be it. Let's try this now. And to do that, since we're using args parser, it's going to be a little bit different. And we're using a Python script. So this is going to be python run.py. And then we're going to pass in our env, and it's going to be like this. Hopefully this works, but we might have to fix something here. I have a feeling something up here isn't right, but we'll see what happens. And it looks like I'm going to assume this part here is not working right. So let's go ahead and fix that and see what's going on. Okay, so I just did a little bit of researching on the background. A little bit, I kind of overcomplicated this. So this is actually can be way simpler than what I was trying here. So let's just do this. We're actually going to keep this part here, but instead of this for statement, which is completely unnecessary, we can just get away with this. Okay, let's go ahead and run this and see what happens now. Go ahead and hit my up arrow here, and then let's run this now, see what happens. Got another error. Oh, I know why. It's because we didn't have config in here, and it definitely needs config. So let's try this. Ah, there we go. Okay, so we've got this working regularly now. Now let's go ahead and try it with our nAuto flag. Perfect. Everything's passing. And let's try it with our nAuto and our marker flag, and we'll just run one of them, which would be prod. Okay, fantastic. This looks to be working exactly how we are intending this.